Hi, and welcome to Best in Tesla News, episode 262. Elon Musk made a bid of $97 billion for OpenAI, and Redwood Materials shared a very important aspect of the EV that is usually overlooked by critics. And Elon Musk says that Grok 3 is scary smart. And BYD is finally entering the race for full self-driving cars. And Ford CEO Jim Farley has openly criticized the tariffs imposed by President Donald Trump. And Lucid is out saying that the 180-mile EV are the future. And the Chinese seems to be slowly taking over in Europe. And Porsche announced layoff and is reinvesting in ICE powertrains. And Tesla expands their full self-driving supervised to new markets. All of this and much more in today's episode. Start right in.
Let's put our living stereo stylus in this groove.
Elon Musk made a bid for OpenAI for $97 billion, but what was the motivation behind the bid? Well, SMB Attorney had some interesting thought about the situation, because Elon Musk's $97 billion bid for OpenAI could be a strategic move leveraging the Delaware Revlon rule, which mandates maximizing shareholder value during a sale despite OpenAI's unique non-profit for-profit structure. The bid challenged OpenAI's mission-driven identity, questioning whether it aligns more with the original non-profit goals or has shifted towards a for-profit motivations, especially given its investment from Microsoft. OpenAI's rejection of Musk's offer could lead to a legal scrutiny in Delaware courts, potentially forcing OpenAI to justify its non-profit status or its transition towards a for-profit operation. As MMB also wrote, this move isn't a legal checkmate. It's public pressure, publicity, and potential novel legal challenge to OpenAI's governance. And as CJD wrote to a reply to Tesla Boomer Mama that also thought this was a genius move by Elon Musk, yep, this throws a major wrench into their plans, because now that non-profit arm has a value number attached, and they would need to buy it out. And of course, the more valuable OpenAI becomes, the more valuable the non-profit arm becomes. So basically, however they spin it, Musk just made sure that they bid off more than they can chew. And Jeremy White had the same kind of thought to why this is such a genius move, as he wrote for those of you asking. The genius lies in Elon Musk and others' proposal for their fair value offer. This offer severely influenced the other board members who would have to fiduciary responsibility to make the best decision possible for the company. This prevent Altman and the board members for lowballing the offer because they would have to justify why they accept $48 billion less than was offered by the Elon Musk-led group. Sam Altman has criticized the bid as intended to slow the company, a competitor, down. Or Elon Musk is just trying to stop the company that he founded with $50 million getting up and running as a non-profit company to turn into the complete opposite from what he invested in. Like we also heard that Elon Musk will withdraw his $97 billion bid for OpenAI's non-profit arm if they stop its conversion into a for-profit entity, according to a court filing. But Elon did also make a whole interview at the World Government Summit. I did post the whole interview on my channel if you haven't seen it yet, but at the interview Elon did also say that Grok 3 should come out in a few weeks and that it is scary smart. And it will be better than any other large language models out there. That of course includes OpenAI's ChatGPT. And Grok 2 would be the last time Grok would ever be behind. Can't wait to test it out. And I will bet you guys watching are spending a fair amount of time online and on your connected devices. I know I am. My job is being on a computer all day. And when I'm not working, I might be streaming some entertainment on some of my smart devices. And all my personal information is on my smartphone. That is why using a VPN server is a very good idea and why I have partnered up with today's sponsor NordVPN. Because VPN stands for Virtual Private Network. And private being the key word there. A VPN will encrypt internet traffic and hide your IP address and virtual location, so it will boost your privacy and security online, which is much needed these days. And a VPN protection makes hacking close to impossible. So for me, this is one of the most important things about using a VPN provider, to get that peace of mind that your data and online activities are secure. Because NordVPN does much more than just change your IP address. It blocks malware, stop intrusive tracking, block intrusive ads on the spot, and it has always on cybersecurity. So even if you're not connected to a VPN server, it still protects your online browsing. But of course, I also use the ability to change my IP address all the time, as I can get access to a lot more content on streaming services like Netflix, because there is different content depending on your location. So if I want access to something on Netflix that is only available in the US, I just turn on NordVPN and change my location to the US, and voila, my digital location is now in the US, and the user interface couldn't be any simpler. You just click the country you want your IP address to be in, and that's it. Couldn't be any simpler. If you want to check it out, and you should if you care about your online privacy and security, NordVPN have a great deal for you. By clicking my link down below, you will get 4 bonus months for free on a 2-year plan. And it's risk-free with NordVPN's 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. So click the link down below to get started today. And a big thanks to NordVPN for sponsoring this video. One very important aspect of the EV that is usually overlooked by critics is the batteries can be recycled. Redwood Materials recycling process has been validated by Argonne National Laboratory and the US Department of Energy. The company's recycled materials are reported to perform as well as or better than newly mined materials, promoting a circular economy in battery production. In 2024, Redwood recycled by themselves 20 gigawatt hours of battery. And no, gasoline cannot be recycled. That is why someone like Transport and Environment that I have shown many times before, but I still see so many people not getting this, so here we go again. When recycling is taken into calculation of an EV, you can see that it is quite insane that we even have this discussion with some people, as there really is no comparison here. As Transport and Environment wrote in their study from 2021, over its lifetime, an average ICE car burns close to 17,000 liters of petrol, or around 13,500 liters of diesel. If those oil barrels were stacked end to end, they would make up a tower 70 to 90 meters high, approximately the height of a 25-story building. And that was one car. On the other hand, the metals used in a battery cell are around 160 kilos. Based on an average battery size and composition, when taken into account the recycling of the battery cell's materials, and that the majority of the metal content is recovered, only about 30 kilograms of metals would be lost for an average battery or the size of a football. The weight of petrol and diesel fuel that is burned during the average lifetime of a vehicle is around 300 to 400 times more than the total equivalent of battery cell materials that are not recovered. So the materials wasted in an ICE car vehicle is about 300 to 400 times more. And the extra CO2 used in making the battery in the first place will on average be saved within the first year of the car's life, depending on how clean your grid are and how many miles you drive every year. There simply is no comparison between ICE and BEVs. ICE uses 300 to 400 more times materials over its lifetime, and it emits toxic gases into the air of our cities, killing millions of people every year. The ICE car will never become part of a circular economy that we need to get to save ourselves and our planet. But BEVs can be part of that circular economy. Acid batteries can be recycled, as Redwood materials have demonstrated, and Tesla has also been recycling 100% of their own batteries. And don't forget that Tesla's Gigabalene factory leads in sustainability, recycling up to 100% of the factory's processed wastewater and using just 1.8 cubic meter of water per Model Y they build, far below the industry average of 3.7 cubic meters. So this clearly shows you that the so-called activist protesting against Tesla because of water consumption and no other OEM that is using twice as much water shows you very clearly a corrupt organization. If they want to protest against factory using a lot of water, they should protest against the jeans factory in the Berlin area that use about 3 to 5 times as much water to make one pair of jeans than what Tesla does to produce a whole Tesla Model Y. That will probably last about 10 to 15 years and then be recycled. If the jeans last about 1 to 2 years, they will have done very well. I did make a whole video about this, so if you want to take a deep dive into the information and want to learn more, check that one out, link down below. And the race for autonomy is heating up, and now BYD is finally entering the race. BYD has a new ADAS suite in its portfolio. The so-called God's Eye autonomous systems will be offered as a standard in over 20 car models. The top-tier version of the system was showcased on a Yangwang U9, their supercar, that drove itself around a racetrack. That system is equipped with 3 LiDARs, whereas the more affordable models will get a system with 1 LiDAR and the cheapest model will get a system that is based on the same kind of tech that you will find in your Tesla with vision only. But driving around a racetrack is a very easy task, so I'm not really impressed by that. The real challenge awaits out in traffic with bad human drivers around you. But it is very nice to see finally that BYD enters this game, as BYD CEO did say back in 2022 that he did not believe in autonomous vehicles. But I guess he has realized, as I said back then, that if you don't have autonomous vehicles in the future, you will not have an automotive company at all. So no matter how big BYD would become, their cars would become obsolete the day cars started to drive themselves. And now I guess BYD's CEO has realized this. So let's see how they will do with the new system and how good it will perform in the wild. As we know, Huawei does have some very impressive software driving the Avatar 1.1 around autonomously in China. But Tesla did also do some expansion themselves this week, as we did see Tesla quietly rolling out full self-driving supervised in Mexico and Puerto Rico, as Tesla Chan also wrote on X. Wow, it's amazing to see full self-driving version 13 working through a Cybertruck in Mexico. We didn't expect full self-driving to arrive in Mexico at this point. It works with AI. Yep, now Teslas can drive everywhere in Mexico, supervised of course, but if Waymo should be able to do something similar, they would need to map the whole country. Let's see how many decades will pass before Waymo's robotaxis can drive in all of Mexico. Because as we have seen before with Tesla's full self-driving, it also works here in Europe. It is only a matter of getting regulatory approval. No mapping of any kind is required. And the Cybertruck account on X also tuned in and reminded us all that no other truck can do this. And Teslarati also shared this video of Tesla's full self-driving supervised version 13.2.7 taking on San Francisco's famous Lombard Street, one of the crookedest streets in the country. And it just handled it perfectly. But they also shared the old video from Tesla Raj he made back in October 2020 when Tesla released the beta program, taking on the Lombard Street as well. This just to show how much progress we have seen in 4 years, because in 2020 it couldn't handle Lombard Street at all, but now it is no problem. Yes, the progress is very, very nice, and Dirty Tesla also shared this video and wrote, "Full self-driving 13.2.7 in the Cybertruck drove me home from work today with zero intervention. Imagine the relaxing daily commute facilitated by your Tesla. This is the first time full self-driving has done my route with zero interventions since testing began. Hallelujah." Yep, getting better all the time. But with full self-driving supervised being available in Mexico, this would be the longest full self-driving trip possible from the northern tip of Canada to the southern tip of Mexico. Who's up for that? Ford CEO Jim Farley has openly criticized the imposed tariff by Donald Trump, stating that they've introduced significant cost and cares into the US automotive industry. Speaking at the Rolf Research Conference, Farley highlighted how these tariffs, specifically the 25% on import from Mexico and Canada set for March, could devastate American automakers. Despite acknowledging Trump's intention to strengthen the US auto sector, Farley pointed out the current negative impact, including potential job losses and increases consumer prices. Farley also expressed concern over the possible rollback of the Inflation Reduction Act, which could jeopardize Ford's investment in electric vehicle and battery manufacturers in the state like Tennessee and Ohio. He criticized the uneven application of tariffs, noting that while Mexico and Canada face new duties, competitors from South Korea and Japan do not, giving them an unfair advantage in the US market. Ford, which prides itself on its domestic production, is less directly affected by these tariffs, but is still anticipating broader economic repercussions. Farley's remarks comes at a time when many industry leaders are voicing apprehension over the policy's long-term effect on manufacturing jobs and overall industry stability. So it really seems like this could be a big blow for someone like Ford and GM, who have many of their EVs manufactured in Mexico. So if both the Inflation Reduction Act goes away and they get 25% price hike on all the EVs imported from Mexico, well, that could definitely be very hurtful for the legacy automakers in the country. So the one that will be hurt the least is, of course, Tesla. It will hurt them short term for sure, of course, but Tesla does earn money on their EVs while the others don't, and Tesla is making all their cars in the US and have the most American-made cars, so they will not feel the tariffs as much as the other guys. As Jeff Lutz also wrote on X, the Mexico-Canada overhang is a disaster for Ford and GM. They are scrambling to build all kinds of inventory, supply and pricing scenarios. Localizing more of the supply chain in the US would more isolate them, and I think that's the whole point of the tariffs, right? Get to build in America again. But no matter what, this is definitely sending some shockwaves through the industry. And let's squeeze in the last short news topics into this news show. Yes, it's time for the Tesla shorts. Tesla Europe wrote 0 to 100,000 Teslas on the road, 11 years. 100,000 to 150,000, just over 24 months. Thank you, Norway. Very impressive. And mainstream media is not doing itself any favors, as AJ also pointed out on X. China's car sales fell 12% in January from a year earlier, and the biggest drop in almost a year is an entirely moronic sentence. Lunar New Year, like clockwork, causes a massive drop in car sales every year. What the brilliant Reuters writers don't know apparently is that Lunar New Year shift months. In 2024, Lunar New Year was in February, while this year it was in January. For this simple reason, the year-on-year comparison compares an unaffected January in 2024 sales numbers with a Lunar New Year depressed January in 2025 numbers. This is a complete rookie mistake and further demonstrates that if you invest and get your information from mainstream media, well, you will stay poor. Yes, just look at this chart of BYD as well. As always, down big in Q1, and depending on the Lunar New Year, it hits the bottom in January or February. Funny how we need to have this discussion every single year because of the poor journalism from the mainstream media. Yes, listen to people like Roland instead that gave some good numbers out of China. Chinese Passenger Car Association reported 29,535 Tesla exported from the Shanghai factory in January. In total, Giga Shanghai had a wholesale sales of 32,233 Model 3 and 31,005 Tesla Model Ys. As we already know the wholesale numbers from last week, and now with the export, we get to 33,703 sales in China in January. Good numbers considering the Chinese New Year started in January, and we are also in the transition to the new Model Y. Yes, exactly. That is one guy getting all the facts that is going on. And apparently the Model Y is still the 4th best-selling car in China. That is crazy, with only the old model available. And a Tesla Model Y inside a house that caught fire, not the car, in the US, was severely burned. Yet the battery did not catch fire, despite the high temperatures flames. Even the Tesla sound system is still working. Now that's just nuts. And you of course have heard about that nobody in Europe want a Tesla anymore because of Elon Musk politics. Well, as we have just seen in China with the order backlog piling off of the new refreshed Model Y, Swedish people also seem very interested in the new Model Y, as Niklas wrote. Electric cars are popular among Swedish Google search, with the Tesla Model Y leading the way, the Tesla Model 3 in 7th place, the Cybertruck in 12th place. It is clear that technology environments and electrification have a strong impact on consumers' interest. The fact that the Tesla Model Y tops the list shows that Swedes prioritize innovative and environmental friendly options. At the same time, we see that traditional models like the Volvo XC60 and the XC40 still holds a strong place in the hearts of the Swedish. Concluded Gustav Thuman. Yeah, let the floodgates open with the new refreshed Model Y. That should be getting ready to hit the streets already next week. And Tesla Megapacks shared on X. Megapacks in Puerto Rico. Tesla will provide 430 megawatt of Megapacks to Genera to improve grid stability, reduce load shedding events by 90% and improve the island's energy resilience. Nice. And I did talk about Lucid in my Overflow news show this week, as they now want to become a 80% supplier and 20% car company. As they can see, they will probably never make it as a car company only. But Peter continues this week making some weird comments. As he said, 180 miles EVs are the future. That's the future, definitely. I would say that midsize would be limited to that, but I could see a variant of midsize that just got that in 10 years from now. People don't drive so far on a typical day. According to the DOT, Americans tend to drive just under 40 miles daily. It may seem paradoxical that you hear me saying this when I'm synonymous with ultra-long-range vehicles. Yes, it is, Peter. But I'm actually synonymous with big picture thinking. Okay, sure, if you say so. Rawlings says a roughly 180 miles Lucid would only need a 30 kilowatt hour pack. Then we can make battery packs for around 2,500, maybe 2,000, instead of 20,000 or 25,000 today. Yeah, no matter what, Lucid is definitely putting away from their old way of doing things. And Nissan was in deep trouble later last year when rival Honda offered a lifeline, a $60 billion tie-up that would help both Japanese automakers compete against the Chinese brands, upending the car industry, as I reported at the time. But the merger talks unrivaled a little more than a month due to Nissan's pride and insufficient alarm about its predicament, as well as Honda's abrupt decision to revise the term and propose that Nissan become a subsidiary, according to 6 people familiar with the matter. Julie Boots, analyst at research firm Pelham Smith Association, said about the turmoil at Nissan, "I think it's a manager problem. They are completely overestimating their position and their brand value and their ability to turn around the business. They do not have a realistic view of what's happening in the auto industry and what really needs to happen with Nissan." Yeah, this truly sounds like a sinking ship, but the captain thinks the ship is unsinkable. Where have I heard that before?
But this ship can't sink. She's made of iron, sir. I assure you, she can.
And if you remember, in November, Tesla announced that they have built 1,000 Powerwalls in a single day, but now they reported less than 3 months later, over 1,500 Powerwalls produced in a 24 continuous shift. Congrats to Tesla Nevada team. Nice. And Tesla, of course, also started producing Megapacks in the Shanghai factory that will add another $8 to $10 billion to Tesla's revenue when fully ramped. And we are seeing the Chinese are slowly taking over in Europe, as Electric Nick wrote on X. BEV share in Austria, German OEMs plus Geely Group. Geely Group 48%. BMW 38%, Mercedes 20%, and Volkswagen Group 11%. But BYD is apparently also on the rise in Austria, so it looks like the Chinese are taking over in Austria. And Gwen Shotwell wrote on X, "We are excited to team up with T-Mobile to bring our Starlink direct-to-cell capabilities to the US." Nice. And speaking of Starlink, Starlink is now SpaceX's biggest moneymaker. For the second year in a row, Starlink's internet service made more money for SpaceX than the company made launching rockets. Starlink's customer base doubled from 2.3 million in 2023 to 4.6 million in 2024. Revenue rose 95% and was estimated at $8.2 billion in 2024, up from $4.2 billion in 2023. Nice. We might have an IPO of Starlink coming soon. And as I mentioned in my Overflow News show during the week, France did say that the cybercaps will be rolling in the streets by June. So it sounds like it is not just the unsupervised that is coming in June, but also testing cybercaps out in the wild. That would be awesome. But if you want to learn more, check out my Overflow News show #1 from this week. And Sawyer shared on X that the New York Green Bank has signed a $60 million deal with Rival to build 267 additional charger stalls at the cost of $225,000 per stall. And as he writes, Tesla's supercharger stall cost about 80% less. And we got confirmation on that later, as Max, that is building Tesla supercharger, wrote $40,000 to $45,000 per stall. But Sawyer then asked about the ETA on when the first version 4 supercharger with version 4 cabinet will open, and Max replied, "Engineering is working weekend on it, aiming for the first pilot site in Q3. Despite increased capabilities of up to 500 kilowatts per stall, we should be able to deploy it for less than $40,000 per stall." That's just insane. That is about 5.5 times cheaper than Revel's cost per charging stall. No wonder that everyone else wants the charging infrastructure program to come back in the US. But as Elon has always said, we don't need subsidies for the charging stalls, just as we don't need subsidies for gas station. But thanks to Max for confirming the price of Tesla's charging stall. And it is not only the Tesla Model Y that did nicely in sales, the Tesla Model 3 was crowned Singapore's best-selling sedan in 2024. Congratulations. And we all know Porsche is struggling with their sales, and as a result the automaker is taking a step sideways with its electrification plan, as they wrote on Auto123, mainly because of weaker than expected demand in Europe, but also because of competition from domestic Chinese automakers on the Chinese market, where the automaker has been doing a brisk business for the past few years. In China, Porsche's vehicle deliveries fell by 28% in 2024. We are talking about a significant drop. As a result, the brand will reinvest in the development of gasoline-powered and plug-in hybrid models. It is warning all concerned, however, that expanding its product range to include more diverse powertrains will hurt its return this year. And Porsche also announced that they will lay off 1,900 people. Layoffs are expected to phase in until 2029 and affect about 5% of Porsche's employees in Germany. Yeah, it does not look very good for the future for Porsche in my opinion, but we will see what will happen. And it sounds like Tesla's journey to India is still not dead, as Indian Prime Minister Modi meeting with Elon confirmed to have a focus on Tesla and Starlink entry into India, as well as AI policy and SpaceX collaborations. And even though the Tesla stock is down, Morgan Stanley reiterates Tesla's bull case of $800. They say Tesla has a huge data advantage. Yep, and Tesla has also received a buy rating and a $475 per share price target from Benchmark, touting autonomous vehicles, robotics, and energy generation and storage as potential growth drivers, in addition to further EV market penetration. Yep, I think we could have some very versatile month ahead of us, but when the cybercaps and unsupervised full self-driving hits the street in June, I think the stock is only going to go one way. But time will tell. And don't forget that I have started making these Overflow News shows so I can get a lot more news out to you guys than just here on the Sunday News Show. So if you think, why didn't he talk about that in this news show, maybe it's because I've already talked about it during the week in the Overflow News Show. So don't forget to hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on future news shows. And the Tesla Cybertruck owners has got a lot of hate lately in the US, but as Tesla rightly wrote, Cybertruck hate? No thanks. Spread love, not hate. Yes, indeed. Like I always say, be nice. And before we end off with a bit of fun, I just want to make a quick shout out to my newest supporters of this channel. My new YouTube members, Henry Domke Fine Art, Kelly Faust, SL Ron and Aritz A, and my new Patreon producer, Ken O'Donnell. Thank you so much for all your support. I am doing this all by myself, but you guys are all the producers of this new show. Thank you. And let's end off with a bit of fun. When you just want to show off your self-defending techniques, but your partner just wants to make you look like a fool. That is all we have time for in this news show. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button. It really does help this video out a lot so others can find it on YouTube. And if you did like it, maybe you want to consider hitting that subscribe button so you can help this channel grow, and maybe also the notification bell so don't miss out on future videos just like this one. And if you're already a subscriber to the channel, thank you so much for the support. But if you want to support the channel even more, remember you can, for as little as $1, become a patron of this channel, or become a member of the YouTube channel to get a shout out as some extra perks like early access, ad-free versions of my videos, exclusive videos. So hit the members button or check out Patreon to find out more. And don't forget to follow me on X. I post pretty much all the news as it comes out and a lot more. And check out the merch store to get some merchandise and support the show. It is also possible to support the show without becoming a member or a patron. There is a donation option down below or on my website bestintesla.com. You can also become an executive producer and get news articles, exclusive videos, behind the scenes, and access to all my research charts and spreadsheet also on bestintesla.com, or as simple as hitting the super like button. And thank you for watching. And until next time, take care out there and be nice.